the fear of death and the attitude of the finite life being insignificant, that like, what is the point?
Yeah.
This sort of existential angst that many of us struggle with, right?
Yeah, right.
That's something that you touch upon really early on, that this thing that makes us unique is that we know that we're going to die.
Yeah, yeah. That to me is the vital distinguishing feature of our species. You know, we can reflect on the past, we can think about the future and recognize that we're not going to be here in the future, at least for some period of time. And it's an idea, and its powerful motivating influence is one that has been explored throughout the ages. Otto Rank, who was one of the early disciples of Freud, who ultimately broke with Freud, developed this thesis that our awareness of our own mortality is one of the driving factors in what we do. And then when I was, I was in my 20s or 30s, I read a book by a guy named Ernest Becker called Denial of Death. I don't know if you've ever heard of this book. It was big in the 70s. It won actually the Pulitzer Prize in the 70s. And it's a wonderful distillation of this way of thinking about why we humans do what we do. And in many ways, in my own book, the one that's coming out actually today, until the end of time, it's extending this notion that Becker developed in Denial of Death, but now seeing it in a cosmological setting.
There is a poem that said, "Death is a door that every person will enter. 100 years from now, none of us will be here. Maybe some people can reach 100, but that's very rare. In the Quran, God says, every soul will test death. Quran 23:35. Nobody can deny death. Billions of people came before us. They are gone. After us, another billions will come."
Because it's not just we that are going to die. It's every structure in the universe is going to disintegrate in time. Our best theories suggest to us that even protons, the very heart of matter, there are quantum processes that in the far future will ensure that every proton disintegrates, falls apart into its constituent particles. And at that point, there's no complex matter around at all.
Let me explain to you what a proton is. An atom is made out of proton. An atom is the smallest building block of matter that makes up everything around us. Even you listening, you are made up of atoms, and everything in the universe is made up of atoms. All the billions of planets, stars, and galaxies will all come to an end, as God says in the Quran, "And do not call upon another God with Allah. There is no God except He. All things perish except His face. Judgment is His, and to Him all of you shall return." Quran 28:88. In the following verse, God is describing some part of the end of the world. God says, "And the moon is eclipsed, and the sun and the moon are fused together. On that day man will ask, 'Where can I run?' No, indeed. There will be no safe place that day. The only resting place will be with your Lord." Quran 75:8-12.
What timeline are we talking about
Well,
here?
pretty big, long timeline. In fact, I'd like to use a metaphor to try to give you a feel for the times involved. I like to use the Empire State Building. And imagine that every floor of the Empire State Building represents a duration 10 times that of the previous floor. So like on the ground floor, it's like 1 year, first floor 10 years, second floor 100, and so forth. So you're going exponentially far in time as you climb up the Empire State Building. And in that scheme of things, everything from the Big Bang until today, you're about at the 10th floor, 10 to the 10 years, 10 billion years. And as you go forward, you are looking at things very far in the future. And to answer your question, we think, and I underscore think because we're now at the speculative end of our theoretical ideas, protons will decay roughly in, say, by the 38th floor. So 10 to the 38 years into the future.
So we can relax for a little bit.
You can relax for a little bit, but
Many civilizations and many other people had predicted the end of the world at a specific date, but none of it was accurate. We are still living in the world, and the truth is, nobody knows when it will end, except for the one who created it, Allah. And He says in the Quran, "Indeed Allah alone has knowledge of the hour when the world will end." Quran 31:34. One day the angel Gabriel asked the messenger, peace be upon him, "Tell me about the final hour." He replied, "The one asked does not know more than the one asking," meaning neither of us know about it. Reported by Muslim. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you found a lot of valuable information that will benefit you. Please like and subscribe to the channel to help us create more valuable content. The next video for you to watch is the one currently displayed on the screen. I'll see you there.